Welcome to the Coop Tank. I'm your host, Steve Cooper, coming to you from SuiteRecording in beautiful Mount Laurel, New Jersey. And to tell you a little more about this wonderful studio is the owner and the producer of the show, my friend Joe Gangemi. What's up, Joe?
Hey, Coop. Thank you, and Happy New Year to everybody. Yes, so here at SuiteRecording, we help brands, businesses, and organizations with their content. We can help you to launch a podcast, set up a YouTube channel, and then leverage that content on social media to really reach your target audience in a unique way. So we do a lot of things like mobile recording as well, live streaming, and even studio building. So if you're interested in learning more, you can contact us anytime at hello@suiterecording.com or visit us on the web at suiterecording.com. That's SUITE. Take it away, Coop.
You know, it's funny. Every time I send Joe an email, I say, "Hey, Joe." And I always say, I want to say, "What are you doing with that gun in your hand?" And for you young people, that's a Jimi Hendrix reference. But I always think that when I put, "Hey, Joe." But we have a great show today. You know, I've met these people all in different ways, and they're all great at what they do. And they get out there and network. And they're just good people, and that's why they're here. And our first guest from Feldscher Horwitz Public Relations, it's Hope Horwitz. How you doing, Hope?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you. And then from Combined, a Chubb Company, Julia George. How you doing, Julia?
I'm good.
And finally, my buddy from Jamloop, Mr. Mitch Klein. What's up, Mitch?
Well, hi, everyone. Thank you, Coop. Really happy to be on board with this one. Appreciate it.
So, Hope, tell us a little about your company.
Okay. Feldscher Horwitz Public Relations is a family-owned public relations boutique agency. We work with our clients to find or create their newsworthy stories. We look at what their mission is, their goals as their goals change, and who their players are, who their teammates are, and as they change. And then we find the story and we pitch it to the press. We've got fabulous relationships with reporters. We know how to build relationships with reporters across the country and news directors and producers. And we work with them to give them the content they need or the content they didn't know they needed based off of what our clients' needs are.
Okay. So now how about you, Julia? Tell me about what you do.
Yeah, so I'm a territory sales director for Combined. We're a Chubb company, so we deal with insurance. We specialize in employee benefits. So my job is to create strategies for companies to help employees enroll in their benefits and understand them as a whole package. And then we provide some lines of insurance to them as well. And, you know, we're doing a lot with Spanish companies, Russian companies, Vietnamese people who need multiple languages and stuff like that. So I've been doing this 18 years.
Okay. And how about you, Mitch? Tell us about Jamloop. I love that term, Jamloop.
I do
definitely
too.
love that. I definitely love that term. In fact, the owner of the company, founder, its birthday today, so it's kind of funny timing wise. But Jamloop is real simply an ad tech platform, and we help advertisers reach the streaming TV audiences. So those are the people that no longer have cable or have a hybrid, little cable, little streaming, but we're able to reach a very precise audience. I think, like Hope says, we're a boutique company, which gives us a really good handle on our clients, and it's a hands-on process. But really, this is new TV, and it's inexpensive. It's targeted advertising, and it's, I think to Hope's point, we try and find people that don't know they need this kind of advertising, and we sell it to them and talk to them and take them every step of the way. But that's what we do with Jamloop.
Okay. You know, when I moved back from LA, it was great to start over. I mean, I'm from the area, and I met so many different business people. But in LA, you meet entertainment people, and you meet people at bars, because that's all you do. You go to entertainment, you go to bars. But everyone has a story, and I want to know how you got to the position. We're going to start with you, Julia. How did you get to the position that you have today? What was the steps that got you to your title and what you're doing?
Well, I moved out on my 17th birthday. And my family was in like a cult. So I grew up in Philadelphia. I moved here when I was 18 and had multiple jobs and always was working like crazy. And someone taught me in 2004 what an insurance policy was and how you could make money. So I worked my way up from the ground up. I had no car. I was going through a divorce and I started my own company. And we did over $1 million in sales in year 2. So like I, you know, really did it from the ground up by myself. I did have the help of a few mentors. And then every position I had, I kind of leveraged it to get where I want to be. And, you know, I took this executive role in April instead of, I owned my own company for 15 years. So I decided that what I wanted to do is mass produce my agency model, and which is why I came here to teach other people how to do it now.
That's awesome. That's cool. That's a great story. How about you, Mitch? Well, how did you get to Jamloop?
Well, you know, I spent nearly 30 years, actually a little over 30 years on the TV side of TV sales, advertising sales. So I worked with CBS TV for 21 years, plus other media companies, New York City and Philadelphia. And then, you know, things happened and I found myself out of a job, looking for a new job. And in the interim, I worked at Canal's Discount Liquors because I'm a craft beer guy. So I was able to enjoy that experience. And then I really learned about digital advertising, OTT and CTV, connected TV advertising. Just was an extension of what I've been doing literally half my life, and got real lucky and ended up at Jamloop.
Okay. How about you, Hope? How'd you get? How'd you get into this?
Well, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So Julia, you left at 17. I've never left. My mother started this business when I was 10. I joined her when my 10-year-old was born. This is kind of in my blood, and I don't mean that because of my bloodline. This is all I know. This is the way my brain works. When I'm planning an event, I'm constantly thinking about publicity. When I was an event planner, how I landed. So PR's been instilled in me. I've gone to her work when school's been out. How I landed here in this office was an accident. My husband lost his job. My daughter just came out of the NICU for the easiest case you can ask for. And my mother was getting rid of someone. And it was like, you know what? The time is right. And that was 10 years ago. And from there, I've worked with her to grow the business. I'm excited for 2024 and where we're going to take this. And just, I was raised in PR.
That's great. You know, now talking to you and all, because you have a good track record, all of you. And in a day and age, you know, when you read, people always tell you how good they are. You ever notice that? Like, people will say, "Oh, I'm great," and they suck. I mean, it's just, you'll sit there and go, "Oh, I'm a great salesperson," and they suck. But for you guys, I'm going to start with you, Mitch. What makes you good at what you do? I mean, when you look in yourself and say, "You know what makes me good at this?" Believe it or not, I listen to people. My wife always yells at me. She goes, "You never listen to me, but you listen to your guests." I go, "Well, that's just, you know, because they're more interesting." And then I sleep on the couch. But no, Mitch, what makes you good at what you do?
I try not to talk a lot. I try and listen an awful lot. And then in the end, I just want for people to be successful. So it's about me, but it's really about them. And I think caring about people, investing in their lives, caring about their families and their kids, and just making that real close connection makes me want to work with people, and they want to work with me. So it's really about relationships, and not to drop an F-bomb, I won't, but it's about giving a shit about the people you work with. They're not just a number. They're not just an account, but it's an actual person. And on top of that, I never wanted to sound like a used car salesman. I never wanted to sound like I was selling snake oil. So that's not who I am. And I just try and take my enthusiasm and bring that into the process.
How about you, Hope? What makes you good at what you do?
So it's actually a lot of the same things. I'll start though with how creative I am and we are. You know, we really have to look at what is newsworthy and what my client does and what the reporter actually wants. And what the reporter wants and what your client wants are never the same thing. So it is about building relationships, Mitch, for me as well. So the reporters have to know that they can trust me, that I'm going to give them what they need, that if I can connect them to what they need, but it's not from my client, I'm 100% going to do that, because I need the reporters to get their stories written and to be a resource for them. For my clients, it is a lot of listening and team building. So we are consultants, but we like to join our clients' staff meetings or marketing meetings, however they're made up, however their departments work in their space. We have to be a part of their team. We don't want to just be on the peripheral. We want to be there when they're starting new with new ideas, and then we work the PR into it for them.
Okay. How about you, Julia? What makes you good at what you do? Because you just came to a new position, as you said. It's a new position. But what makes you good? Like, why did that company want you there? What makes you good?
Well, for me, I'm very confident in what I do because I have failed. So, I think that really building something from the ground up with your own bare hands kind of gives you this sense of like, nothing is too much for me. I'm working on, for instance, a case right now in 1,000 locations. I'm not intimidated by it because I've done that before. I know it can be done, and I know it can be done right. Everyone that knows me knows I have clinical OCD. So I'm just very I'm that kind of person that'll know when there's a spelling error, when there's an issue. Like, I'm very dedicated to what I do. I love my job inside and out. It gives me joy. So I think that that's just kind of contagious, and for my team and for the people that I work with, because we do a lot of recruiting, teaching people the industry, the ins and outs. But for me, I would say confidence, because of what I've been through. In 18 years, you've seen the business ebb and flow. You've seen progress. You've seen it go backwards. You've seen things fail, and through that, I'm to a point where I'm very professional, very good at my job. I know what to do. I'm not sweating bullets every 5 seconds like I used to be, reading everything before a meeting. So I just think that that level is where I'm at.
Okay, so you're all good at what you do, okay, and I'm good at what I do, but I have weaknesses. My thing is I procrastinate. I woke up the other night. I had this movie for a screen. I had an idea for a great screenplay, and I should have sat down and started writing it. But I'm like, I put it on my Samsung notes, and I won't even see it because I procrastinate. I put so much shit off. That's what I do. What is the weakness? We'll start with you. Julia, because we know your strengths and you have the confidence. What is the weakness that you have that you need to work on? Because we all have a weakness, but it's finding out what it is. What is the weakness that you have, Julia, that you would say that you need to work on?
Through work?
Yeah, or just in personal life. What is a weakness that you need to work on?
I need to work on. I need to work out more. My new job, I was looking at my steps. It's like 912 steps on average per day. And I'm like, this is really bad. So I think that is what I'm going to focus on a lot this year. I keep putting out my stuff and saying, I'm going to the gym tomorrow. And then I get up and do work, and then I'm done for the, I'm just in the zone. So I would say that.
Isn't it bad when you look at your steps and you go, that's it?
I know, it's so pathetic.
What? I'm like,
Oh
but the
my
weirdest
God,
thing is though, when I wake up in the middle of the night and I look and I have steps and I go, I've been in bed. I don't even know how I got steps. And it's always irritating. I'm like,
it's from flailing.
I know, I don't know what it is. But how about you? How about you, Hope? What's something you need to work on, a weakness you need to work on?
So I think knowing what your weaknesses are is really powerful, and filling those weaknesses in with other people who have that as their strength. I do that all of the time. I do work on things under the wire. So I am also a procrastinator. I've been told when I get less overwhelmed, I might be able to tackle things in a more timely manner. But I work really well under a wire, and I would love to be able to work more in advance.
Okay. How about you, Mitch?
Well, one, I live in a 3-story townhouse, so steps is not an issue in my house, right? Um, I'd say overall, I've been in sales for 30 something years. I'm still not great picking up the phone and saying, "Hi, I'm Mitch Klein with so and so. Here's what I do." If I know you, like now I know Julia and Hope, I can get on the phone and talk
Yep.
comfortably like we're old friends and be very confident, relaxed, and enjoy that experience. But man, that first initial cold call, phone call, I still have to get better at that. Other than that, I'm good with my steps.
It's funny about that. I had an actor on my podcast, Cooper Talk, and he said, "Call me to set it up." And I had no problem talking to him for an hour once we set it up, but I didn't want to call him. I just wanted to do it by email. I'm the same way. I don't like to talk to people on the phone, but I have no problem talking to you. So, obstacles. Let's talk about obstacles. We all get obstacles in our daily work life and stuff like that. How do you overcome an obstacle? Because everyone does it differently. How do you overcome obstacles? Hope, you have an obstacle. What do you do? Do you worry about it, or how do you overcome it?
I always worry about it. But then when I'm ready to tackle it, I try and look at what each of the pieces are, and I try and tackle each piece at a time. And I will never not ask for help. So I immediately go to my team or to a friend or to a colleague and say, okay, I'm dealing with this. What suggestions do you have? Or can you make this phone call? Or I know you just wrote something like this. Would you mind sending me what you wrote so I could kind of get started from somewhere? So I'm big on asking for help and breaking it down into steps.
How about you, Julia? How do you overcome obstacles?
Yeah, I would say almost very similar. If it's a big one, I'll go to my mentors. But I will look at it and try to visualize in my head the steps to fix it. And then I'll put the plan in place. So I kind of like think, then I write it on paper.
Okay, how about you, Mitch? How do you overcome obstacles?
I think I do rely on people if there's a situation where I need a second set of ears, a third set of ears. But generally, I'll take any obstacle, any problem, literally take a step back, take a breath, and say, okay, what do we need to do to get this thing handled? How do I overcome this? And honestly, it's still like Julia said, there's a certain amount of confidence. I don't want to go down a rabbit hole, so I'll bring someone involved. But really, I'll just look at it, break it down. I'll worry 24/7. I'm a worrier. But I think it's about just taking your time, thinking about it, trying to solve the problem, taking everything that you need, every resource to help overcome that obstacle.
So you overcome obstacles. Now you've all have good jobs. You all do well. You know, as I said, you're secure and you're confident in what you do. In your professional life, what is one moment that you're really proud of? Like, there's got to be like a moment that shines. I mean, we can all say we did this, we did this, we did this, and it's hard to pick sometimes when you do a lot of stuff. But what's a moment that you are so proud of? You're like, holy shit, holy crap, I did this. We'll start with you, Julia. What's a moment you're really proud of in your professional life?
Yeah, so we tackled an enrollment in 400 locations. We did it in 2 weeks, and we were able to help every single employee in the company, which is over 4,600, enroll in all of their benefits in time. And we wrote, I think it was about 800,000 in premium, which is a lot of premium. So it was a very big deal. It went off with pretty much no issues. Like, I couldn't believe it. It's a lot of moving parts. I had to train 100 enrollers. I had to make sure multiple languages, brochures, different classes of employees. It was a lot of work, but it was one of my favorite accounts I've ever worked on.
Did you pat yourself on the back after, or did you put on social
we got
media?
Champagne,
I'm the best
we
ever.
partied.
That's the thing. That's what's good when you make. That's what thing
We
is. People
celebrated.
and that's such a big accomplishment. And it's funny how you see like some people will just be. I always say it's not bragging if it's true. Like that's the kind of shit you can say, hey man, I just kicked ass. It's not like, you sat
Yeah.
there. That's awesome. How about you, Hope? You were shaking your head. So Hope has something big. She has something big up her sleeve because I know she works with the big stars at the Bucks County Playhouse and stuff like that. But tell me something in your career that you are really, really proud of.
Well, I have a couple, but I think I was working with Poets Walk, which is an all memory care assisted living. And I work with a bunch of them, and this one happened to be in Henderson, Nevada, which is basically Las Vegas. And they told me about this storytelling um, event, not event, program that they have where the program director, I can't come up with the word program today, will read them a story. And at first they were reading children's stories just to make it a little bit easier for them to hear it and concentrate. And the memory care patients that were a little bit more with it said, we're not children. Why are you reading us curious stories? Like, we don't want to hear this. Come on now. So they decided to read them books, chapters from their life. So 10,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Huckleberry Finn, they were reading books like that, and they would read a chapter a day. And they started finding that the residents were perked up a little bit. Their eyes were open more than they had been. They were remembering the next day where they left off in the story. And so they were finding these remarkable results from it. So I started pitching it. And I spoke to a CBS News director out in Las Vegas, and he was like, you know what, call me next week about it. And then he was like, I don't know, send me some information about it. And I didn't think I was going to get it. And he called me 2 weeks after I started pitching him. And again, I know how to build a relationship with the press. I'm very respectful of their time. I'm not overwhelming him. And he calls me and he says, I think we're going to do it for the weekend show. So we set it up. They come out. They do a piece on this story time. And it wound up getting picked up and ran 99 times across the country.
Amazing.
Not just in Las Vegas.
Amazing.
It was very cool.
That is
is
awesome.
so rad.
You should be very proud of that. How about you, Mitch? What's something that you're really proud of in your career?
I do have a bunch, but we'll stick with one. I'd say when I was a sales rep for CBS in New York City, I was working with the Philadelphia station, and a big buy came up for Chrysler, Dodge, Plymouth. I don't remember in the old days. And I guess Jeep was part of that mix. And it was handled locally, but they said, look, the local rep really is not good at this. They want me to handle it. I already had a relationship with the media buyer, wound up just knocking it out of the park on an annual. And it was important because it was also like taking little baby steps, taking the little pieces to build proposals and covering my bases. And it was really successful. And it really not about the money or the share of business, but it really kind of upped my game a little bit and had the right people really say, wow, that was really good. Excellent job. And then when the job opened up a few years later, maybe a year and a half later, at the CBS station, I pitched the job and I got a promotion, moved down to Philadelphia. And just that one piece of business, just knocking it out of the park and putting 110% effort behind it and just dotting I's, crossing T's, really got me to where I am today. So that was one of the biggest things. And then since then, I sold $150 Super Bowl spots, but I also get very excited working with a $500 a month client because I know it can help their business. So it's kind of a weird the way the successes went, but that one piece of business in New York got me down to Philadelphia.
Now, Mitch, we're going to stay with you. You mentioned success, okay? And we're all in different parts in our life. What is the definition of success to you now, where you are in life? What is success to you?
Well, I think, unfortunately, due to a change of careers, I'm still now trying to find that success again. But true success is when my kids do great in their jobs and they get accolades and I congratulate them. And they turn to me and say, Dad, we learned it from you. I don't think you can get any more successful than having your kids say, Dad, we got our work ethic from you. To me, that's success right there. I hope I can live a comfortable life financially. I hope my profession keeps taking off and gets better and better every day. But have my kids support me with that kind of language is just that's true success.
How about you, Julia? What's success to you at this point in your life?
I would say for me, it's definitely more about roles. So like, I'm an executive position. I wanted to keep going higher. So I'm kind of just like, for me, success would be being a VP next, being something else. Like that's kind of where I see myself. I want to expand and grow with my knowledge and like provide something to a company that will take it. So for me, growing upwards in a ladder is what I really define as success for me. And also building out. So like every agent that I bring on my team, if they are successful, I feel successful. So if I'm able to teach someone what I've been able to do, a single mom perhaps, or someone who's just out of college or someone in retirement, all these people I'm training right now, if I can teach them to make money, then I feel really successful.
Okay, how about you, Hope? What's success to you?
I'm not sure I even know right now. Success changes. So for me, success is like the story I just told, doing really well for a client. It doesn't have to hit 99 times. It has to, the client has to be happy. So for me, that's success. Building a solid relationship and knowing that if a reporter has something, I'm someone they will reach out to. There's a reporter actually at CBS who knows if they need a story in South Jersey, they can call FHPR and we'll connect them with any lead, regardless of whether it's one of our clients. So those are all successes for me right now.
Okay.
The successes change.
It does. It's funny how like me in my 20s was different than me now. I'm just happy to be alive. I'm joking. So, okay, I met you all through networking. I know I met Mitch actually at Canals Liquor. He said, "Hey, you're Coop. I've seen you on LinkedIn." And I met Julia at a Bankroll, Chris Giddings event, and then you were at the bar after I was talking to you because they had a Bruce Springsteen beer called Kitty's Back. I was with John Pinsky. And Hope, I met you through the chamber. Okay. And I remember that's So I've met all you through networking. And that's what I love. I love, during the pandemic, we met people, but then we started getting out, we met poor people. And we have such big networking. Everyone has a big umbrella now. Give me a pro and a con of networking, because I sit there, I hate, and be honest, because we all hate that asshole who's giving you the card, hey, and you're like, dude, just leave me alone, or just hate the person who just doesn't give a shit about what you're saying. You're like, well, I just lost my mom. Yeah, but you want to buy a telephone. You don't hate that big person. But we're gonna start with you, Julia, because you're shaking your head like and she's like, I don't know what to say. But give me first a pro, because I love meeting people. Give me a pro, and then give me a con, and be honest, because people who listen to this might be able to learn, and all of a sudden they might go, holy shit, I'm that asshole they're talking about. But give me a pro and a con about networking.
Well, I think a pro is always like, for example, I've met Hope before, so I was really excited to see her. So for me, it's like sometimes you have those connections where you're just like, oh my God, I love that person, or that person's energy is amazing, or whatever. And then you have these friends that kind of can continue and continue. One of the downfalls, I think, is like for me, sometimes I become friends with everybody and then I don't want to ask for anything. So I don't really know how to ask my networking partners for business. I actually get a lot of my business from just like other avenues. And I just find myself just kind of networking because I kind of feel like, well, they're my friend now, but so that's something that I would say for me.
That's that. You know, I haven't heard that answer. That's very honest. And you know, you shouldn't. You should just ask them, because I know that's so weird. My mom always said, just ask. I know you feel weird asking your friend. It's like if you want to ask a friend, you know, for a ride to the airport, you know, like, hey, can you? No, I'm not gonna be. But you should, because they like you already, and if they're friends. But that's a very good point. I've been doing this show. I've had this show for a while. I have not heard where someone said they're afraid to ask. But I guarantee you, if you do, people will go, oh yeah, sure, or they'll help you out because you're a nice person.
Yeah.
How about you, Hope? What's your pros and cons of networking?
Tell me what you do. Tell me why you're different. Don't expect me to buy your product today. You know, in-person networking is a little easier for me because I really enjoy people. So like I met Julia at the end of a night and I was like wired. I was just having a good time. I was little Miss Chatty Cathy. And when I met her, I was like standing with a friend. So I'm sure I said things you would never say to someone you met 30 seconds ago.
I love that.
I cannot stand when someone connects with me on LinkedIn. And if you reach out to me, I'll connect to you. And the very first message, they're literally selling me. It's literally, here's why you need to buy my product. You know, here's why I'm the best financial planner. Here's why. And it's like, you don't know what I need. You know nothing about me. And that drives me crazy. For me, I like the personal part of networking. But everything I do, I bring people down to the personal level.
See, that's good. How about you, Mitch?
Well, meeting you was a pro, so obviously not to kiss the host spot, but meeting
kiss
you
it, kiss it. All you want. Compliment me. Give it, bring it. Steve, you're great. Oh, Steve, feed me grapes and fan me. I'm fine with that.
Okay, I'll kiss your butt some more. But really, meeting you at Canals that one day and just saying, Steve, that opened up a world for me. So that's a huge pro, obviously a huge pro. And look, the negative is getting someone in a either virtual breakout room that won't shut up, or in person, someone that just dismisses me as whatever. I always feel like, really? Like, let's have a conversation. Maybe we can make a friendship out of this. But no, they're like, yeah. I'm like, what the hell? And by the way, I hate people that are tools, right? I don't want to meet any tool in any networking. I'm like, oh God, this guy's so full of himself.
And you can smell him a mile away.
Exactly.
You see him coming down, you know. Like,
I honestly think, though, during the pandemic, when we were doing Zoom networking, I think that weeded a lot of the tools out, because the tools would go into a breakout room and they'd have nothing to say. And people would say, oh, wow, it's more than an expensive suit or your little posse hanging around. You don't know anything. And I think that's a good thing. Now, this next question, and Hope, you jumped the gun on this, but it's all right. And I always preface it by, I like LinkedIn. Okay, I sent you a message, Julia, to be on the show here. I get people through LinkedIn. I like it. But there are certain things, and my blood pressure, I always check my Fitbit. We're talking about Fitbit. My heart goes up during this point. There are certain things that I just piss me off. And the one today is, I don't know, verbiage, wordage. You know, people sit there like award-winning. People are always putting award-winning. And I always think, well, you know, in the time of a participation trophy, being award-winning isn't a big thing. Like, I want a spelling bee in third grade. I'm not going to say I'm award-winning. That bothers me. And then I saw a post the other day. It's just how people word stuff. Someone said, oh, it was such a privilege to be a sponsor. No. The people you sponsored, they're privileged. They want your money. I mean, people don't get it. It's not a privilege to give them money. I mean, if like a Christian coalition, if Delilah's Den said, here's $5,000, they'd have them as a sponsor because no one cares. But I'm like, don't sit there, don't inflate things. You know, don't sit there and be like, oh, it was such a wonderful, was it a wonderful event? You know, I met Keanu Reeves the other night. I didn't put, oh, it was wonderful. I said, yeah, I was hanging back with him backstage because I knew the drummer from his band. I was like, oh, it was so wonderful to meet Keanu Reeves. I turned it into a networking story. So that's what today pisses me off, when I go through LinkedIn and I just see the bullshit, and it's like, just be honest and just like say, hey, you know what? Work sucks right now. I am not getting business. And you know what? People will help you. But when they read it, you go, but Hope, you already said the message, which a lot of people, what's something else that bothers you about LinkedIn? And if nothing bothers you, that's fine. And I said I love it, but like anything, there's things that piss me off about my wife, and I love her to death. But that's just life. So tell me something that bothers you about LinkedIn.
I mean, really, for me, it's people who have absolutely no idea what I do for a living trying to sell me business. And I'm one of those people. I don't like to be rude, so I respond to every email. I don't need your services means I don't need your services.
Okay. How about you, Julia?
I mean, I don't care. I think it's just kind of, I call it work Facebook. Mine's kind of fun. I don't know. I follow all these groups. I don't mind my LinkedIn. Like, I don't care if people post all that stuff. I kind of giggle. I laugh. I take things I like. I look for inspiration. I feel like when people hit me up, it's always a bot. And I know that. So like, I'm just like, whatever, you know what I mean? Kind of a thing. But for me, I have positive experience on it. I don't ever have a, negative thing. I mean, I'm the one usually selling at people. So like, I mean? Like people are going to be like, oh, we don't want to talk to her.
And I like it, but I said there's certain things that piss me off. I think it's just the skeptic in me. How about you, Mitch? What bothers you about LinkedIn?
Well, I think the only thing that bugs me is, and thank God most of the political posts and that some of that kind of personal posts aren't there anymore. But I think as a seasoned, which means I'm old, a salesperson, I always try and respect salespeople. So I respond to everyone. But when someone, once again, through LinkedIn, connects with me and immediately asks to sell me Amazon Web Services or some technology, I have no clue what they're saying, what they mean. Clearly, they didn't realize I'm a sales guy and really not connected to anything like that. And when people try and sell me something that has zero relevance to what I do, let alone I can't understand them, that is a waste of time. I will still politely respond, but I'll be maybe a little shorter and a little, pissy and say, hey, based on my background, you can see I don't cover that kind of technology. Sorry, I can't help you. That's just stupid.
That's good. Now, I got to ask you about you personally, what's a quality you guys have that people don't know about? Like when I moved back and did business, I never told anyone I used to be a stand-up comedian. Okay, and then I was booked on a benefit, and I did this show, and everyone from the Chamber of Commerce was there because Dave Evans had set it up, and he was involved in the chamber, and everyone's like, "Oh my God, you're so funny! You come to these events, you're very professional." I go, "Yeah, because I'm going to the event for the company I was with. I'm not going for me." People didn't know I had a podcast. They didn't know I interviewed Stephen Van Zandt and Ed Asner, and I've done close to 1,000 celebrity interviews. I never pushed that because it was my business. But that's a quality that through the time I let come out, because then I performed them, I do a show, I did City Winery, a bunch of people came out. So that's a quality people don't really know about me. What's a quality, Hope, what's a quality about you that people don't know about you? Not like, you don't have to be a comedian, but or something that, it's like you're just a wonderful listener, or what's a quality that you want people to know about you?
I don't know the answer to that because I tend to be an open book. I tend to just tell you anything when I meet you. I would say that I would like people to know that I am lighthearted, but I can take the job seriously. So when you work with me, you are going to enjoy yourself. I am going to tell you the truth on whether or not I'm the right person for you or not. And I am then going to connect you to someone who is. And I want to have fun when I'm working. So if you don't want to laugh, I don't really know what to do with you.
Okay. How about you, Mitch? What's something you want people, a quality you want people to know about you that they may not?
I sort of like Hope's answer a lot, but people have learned that I'm a craft beer guy and I'm very passionate about it, and I will talk forever. What I've learned in all like the networking I do, that I'm good telling someone that I work one day a week at a liquor store, not for the money, although I do get paid, but I just love connecting face to face with people and talking about my passion, beer. I get excited about it. I've got customers that come in week after week, or once a month to see me and talk about beer. To me, that's fun. I'd rather do that than walk, 18 holes of golf. So I'm not quite an open book, but I'm not embarrassed on professional networking groups to say, yeah, I work in a liquor store one day a week. It's fun. And most people will say, oh man, I really wish I could find something to do like that one day a week. So do people know that about me? A lot of people do. In some cases, maybe they don't. I don't tell them. But other than that, I try to add humor to everything so I can laugh with the client and get them to really enjoy working with me for my fine sense of humor.
And because of you, I found out the beer Juice Bomb, which I enjoy. Juice Bomb. It's very good and it's strong, but it doesn't taste it. It tastes like orange juice. It's one of those things. If I drank in the morning, I could drink that in the morning. Like if I said someone said drink in the morning, I'll give you that. How about you, Julia? What's something that a quality that people don't know about you that you would like them to know?
I would say I'm incredibly sentimental. Most things in my home aren't worth money. I make my gifts for all my kids. So like, I'm just really, really, really into sentimental things that someone could mean something to them. So I don't always tell everybody, but I try to show if I can, that kind of side of me, because it's just I grew up really religious, so I'm very conservative. I'm covered in tattoos. I play bass, I play stoner metal rock. You wouldn't think it, but I grew up real religious and real like basic things, homeschooled here and there and stuff like that. So I think the fact that I'm just really loving and sentimental and like care about people and what they think.
And I did not know you play bass. And I always correlate
Yeah, I play bass.
a bassist and the drummer in a band, or like the shortstop and a second baseman in a team. It's the backbone. I mean, that's why I always saw Charlie Watts looking at Bill Wyman. That's cool. I didn't know that. Well, here's a segment I started a few weeks ago, and I did it I wanted to find out, and it's became very interesting to me, and it's about books. Now, as I say, I don't read business books. Okay, now some people do. Some people are addicted to them. Some people say, I read 20 books. I would go into breakout rooms and they'd be like, I'm reading this book. I'm reading this book. And I'd be like, yeah, I was reading Frank Sinatra's life story. That's what I read. And I don't read them. I've read Malcolm Gladwell, A Tipping Point. That's it. But if you're a business book reader or a book, what's a book that has made a difference to you? It can be professional, just made a book. It could be in the past. It could be recently. We'll start with you, Hope. I don't know if you're a business book reader, but is there a certain book that has made a difference for you? And it could be, if you say Jaws, that's fine. But is there, why would Jaws make a difference? No one's a shark. But is there a book that has made a difference for you?
So I can't get through business books. I get like one page in and I fall asleep. Like I cannot read them. But I do love to get into a good story. The one that's coming up for me right now is my cousin actually wrote it, and I read it a few years ago. It's called Shelter Us, and it's about a woman in a midlife crisis meets a homeless mother pushing her daughter around in a stroller and in LA, because my cousin's from LA. And so it's the relationship they build. And I just remember it was midnight one night. And I had to force myself to stop reading because I knew I'd stay up till 2 to finish the book. And I got so involved in what was happening and so upset with what the main character had just done. And my cousin's name is Laura. And I literally sat up in bed and went, what, Laura, how could you do that?
Did you call her?
I actually could have, because she's in LA and it's 3 hours earlier. And instead, I waited till the next day to tell her, and she just left.
How about you, Mitch? Any books?
I haven't gotten into any business books. I'd say the closest I came was early in my career, the 1 Minute Manager. Tim Johnson maybe wrote that. But in college, I read How to Win Friends and Influence People from Dale Carnegie. They were really life-changing books because it really taught me how to really talk to people and listen to people and not just say, hey, you suck, but hey, good try. And here's, you can do this, maybe this method later. So kind of being a little less obvious about how you treat people. Other than that, I like Harlan Coben books. Love that guy. He's a New Jersey-based writer. I'll read all of his stuff. So that's the mystery side of me, the thrill side. But the business side, I really don't read books. I try to learn from people. I try and get nuggets from every conversation. I've got a bunch from this one today. To me, that's like reading, except someone's verbalizing it. I'm writing it down and can run with that later. But business books, not my thing.
How about you, Julia? Are you gonna break the pattern, or are you a business book person?
Okay, so for me, I actually only have ever really read stuff industry specific. So like everything I do outside of work is fun. So like sci-fi, horror books, I'm into all that. But for work, I've only read the same book, which is How to Win Friends and Influence People, Mitch. It's by my night table. I read it every night. I even have a digital copy in my phone,
You read the whole
and
book
I'm
every
buying
night?
it for all my team. So like I really believe that that book is life-changing if you want to develop any kind of long-standing good relationships. So I live and die by that. Like I call it my business Bible.
Okay, well that's good. We got a business Bible. We got to see that book in common. Now here's the final question, and I always ask this: if you if if you met someone, as my mom would say, who was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, they could be getting out of college, they could be getting out of high school, they could be getting out of trade school, they could be starting a new career, and they came to you and they asked you for advice. They said, hey, what? Give me some insight, man. How do I figure this shit out? This is new for me. What's the advice you'd give them? Hope, if someone came up to you, and you have daughters, so eventually you'll probably have that conversation when they get out in the real world. What's advice that you would give to someone who's just eager? They're eager and they're starting something.
So I give a couple things of advice. So basically you have to put your all into it, and you have to not be embarrassed to speak up and be respectful of other people and expect them to be respectful of you. But I tend to give women advice. We will at one point in our work lives be screwed. So if we choose to have children, whether we're married, whether, whatever our relationship looks like, whether we're doing it on our own, whatever, I don't really care. But I'm so affected by, I believe it was the woman who runs, what's the name of that blog that starts with an H? That's like the biggest thing right now. All I can think is HubSpot, and that's not right. She had a child and went out on maternity leave and had a major problem coming back to the company, and she was the CEO. So what I tell women is, you need to do what works for you. If you're putting your life off in order to advance your career, whatever you run into when you decide to have children or get married or whatever choice you're making, it doesn't matter where in your career you are as a woman, you will be affected by it professionally. So be true to who you are, do what's right for you in your life. We are working in order to enjoy our lives. You still have to work hard. You still have to treat everybody with respect. You still have to put your all into everything that you do. Show up, but don't forget about you and your needs.
Okay. How about you, Julia?
Would say for me, it's a couple things. Definitely one of the things is, if you fall in a hole, you just get back up. I say failing is just falling and staying down. Falling and getting up is not failing. It's thinking outside the box, trying again. I say, be like Rocky, be like me, be like Rockette, like don't give up. Also, if you're accurate and consistent and responsive, people will buy from you. That's it. People will buy from you. They want consistent. I say it doesn't matter if you smell or look weird. People will buy from you. if you are accurate, if you are on time, if you are responsive. So like those are probably my key ones.
Okay. How about you, Mitch?
Boy, such good answers. I always say in life where you can choose two things, be a jerk or be kind. Tell someone be kind. Give a shit about people. Don't look at them just as a sales target. Learn about them, care about them, invest yourself in who they are. Be genuine. Don't be a tool. Whatever you do in life, I said to my kids when they're young, listen, if you want to be a sanitation worker, be the best at it. Whatever you do, just strive to be the best at things and really care at the end of the day about, did you give it your best? Do you take pride in your work? Always care, always take pride. Just be the best you can. And then, like everyone says, be on time, be courteous, be respectful. It's just really the simple thing is just be a good human. And I think everything will fall in place.
Well, that was awesome. I want to thank you guys for all coming on today. Hope, how can people get in touch with you if they need your PR work?
They can find me. Our website is www, which is always awkward to say, FH Public Relations, spelled out. It's nice and long. So F is in Frank, H is in Happy, publicrelations.com. My email is the same, hope@fhpublicrelations.com.
Okay. How about you, Julie? How can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so they can call my cell just for ease of use at the moment, or hit me up on LinkedIn under Julia George with Combined, a Chubb Company. My cell is 267-760-3765. I've never changed it my whole career. So
How about you, Mitch?
Saturdays, 9 to 2, stop in Canals, buy some beer.
hold on one second.
That's a
Wait,
great way
which
to,
canals?
by Burns Honda on 73 in Marlton.
Okay.
I'll be there this weekend.
Okay.
But really, mitch.klein@jamloop.com. I'm always available. My email comes to my phone. My wife gets mad at me. Stop looking at your phone. It's 6 o'clock. I'm still doing business. That's an easy way to get to me. I'm on LinkedIn. I look like this on LinkedIn, right? It's a fairly new, recent picture. That's it.
All right. That's great. So people, you can get in touch with me. Email me at the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. If you want to advertise on the show, reach out to me because, the people who watch the show and the people who run the show are leaders in the business world. So if you want to get your message out to them, what do you want to hear me say how great your company is? So do that. You can reach me at the Coop Tank at yahoo.com. Check out my other podcast, Cooper Talk. Go to coopertalk.net. I'm coming up to 1,000 episodes. I just had a 3-hour conversation with the wonderful Stephen Bauer from Scarface and Ray Donovan. It's in 2 parts. Part 2 will be posted today. Also, don't forget about SuiteRecording. Go to the website, SUITE recording.com. Joe Gangemi's great. He produces this show. This is why I do the show here, because he does such a great job. So that's about it. This is the last show of 2023. So happy 2024, and I'll talk to you in the new year.
Thank you guys. Bye.